Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog, so let's get to it. I say I'm gonna take some time off, y'all.
All the cashiers, they was like, somebody stole her truck. It's like you can hear it all throughout the store.
This Rox coming to you today with a review for Love and Marriage Detroit, Love and Marriage Huntsville, our book 4, Real Housewives of Atlanta. Let's get to it, shall we? All right, you guys, first story up. I guess we can talk about this beef with Kevin McCall and Chris Brown, even though Chris Brown, I guess, let him tell it ain't no damn beef. But Kevin McCall, now, I know some of you guys have been watching me for a long time, and we had a time when we were talking about Kevin McCall quite a bit. I know some of my younger rock stars might not remember Kevin McCall, but all I can say about Kevin McCall is that he terrified and tortured that damn Eva Marcel. Remember, they were together, and her oldest child is by Kevin McCall. And you guys might not remember, but he put that girl through the ringer. I mean, put her through it. Okay? And I know that Eva ain't no easy person. All right? But he definitely put that girl through it. Do you guys remember me talking about the fact that she was in the house with the baby and that he was there and he was trying to get in the house and that they were running around the house and she was locking the doors and trying to make sure that he couldn't get to them at the same time? Like, they were racing. She was inside, he was outside, her locking doors, he barely getting to the door, almost getting in, her locking the window. Can you imagine the terror that girl? So he put that girl through it, and that's all I remember when I think of Kevin McCall. I didn't even know that this man wrote music. Ooh, my hand is ashy, y'all. Just don't even look at that. But I didn't even know this man wrote music for Chris Brown. I didn't even know it then. I knew of him because of what he put Eva Marcel and that little girl through. Okay. Now, we ain't seen Kevin he used to kind of surface every now and then, but for the most part, we have not seen Kevin McCall in a long time. He went away wherever he was. We saw Eva. She ended up remarrying, and I don't even know if she has much contact with him any longer. I think that her husband, Michael Sterling, ended up adopting her oldest daughter, so like they are all now considered Sterlings and they don't deal with McCall from what I remember. I may be wrong, but I think that's what the case is. So anyway, we haven't seen much about him, but every now and then he would kind of pop up. I don't feel like I've seen him since before the pandemic, though, but he would pop up and it would be something kind of little off, and then he would go away. Well, recently, Kevin McCall was on some interview, looks like it might have been a podcast, and he had a time when he broke down and was upset and crying because times didn't feel so hard on Kevin McCall that he don't have no money and that he's on EBT. So he's crying and he's showing it like, look, I am on EBT. Like, that shit ain't right, that he wants Chris Brown to give him like $25,000, for all of those hits that he wrote him and everything. And, he feels like Chris Brown should be paying him $25,000. Now, I'm watching this interview and I'm just like, so what is he saying? Is he saying that Chris Brown owes him $25,000? Because if that's the case, that is something real simple. If he did indeed write these songs, which people are saying that he wrote, and I'm sure there was a contract in place, you could very easily prove that you weren't paid for these songs to get written, and you would get that money. Okay, that you that you would get paid for these songs that you wrote. And I feel like because that hasn't come up, that he has been paid for the job that he does. So now it's sounding like he's complaining because he feels like he should be paid anyway or entitled to this money because of the extreme success that Chris Brown has amassed. And that he feels that he has a place in building Chris Brown to where he is today. And that's the reason why he's saying that he needs $25,000. And to that, I'm just like, how you just tell somebody that they should give you $25,000 because you ain't got no money now and you wrote their hits when they already paid you the money for the service that you did, So to me, I was like, okay, so he's being entitled and he's crying and upset on this thing and he's playing on the emotions of people and hoping that folks will feel sorry for him. Is that what's going on? Well, it did work for Young Thug, okay, because Young Thug was like, hey, gang, Listen, I'll give you that $25,000, man. You ain't got to be crying on there, and I'm sure that Chris Brown will give you $25,000 too, because you know he a good dude. You know he's a good dude. He just been busy. I mean, he just got off his tour, so you know, just hold on. That is not how Chris Brown felt, because Chris Brown then came on and said, "It's you know you cannot walk across a burnt ass bridge." He said, "You know what's funnier than a troll?" He said, "A broke one." And I think that's all that Chris Brown needed to say to let us know that, damn it, we ain't giving this nigga no money, because Chris Brown at least has not forgotten the beef between Kevin McCall and Chris Brown. I don't even know what the beef is. All I know is I'm not surprised, because Kevin McCall, you know, he had a time when he was a menace. Like, he was a menace. So I don't know the ins and outs of the beef, but Chris Brown said he's not paying the money. He don't owe this man no money, and that he's just basically trolling like that's what he does. And yeah, it's too bad. Now, Kevin McCall, you know, people that I've been reading that have talked about, you know, this situation, they say that the man is talented. I mean, they say that he wrote Deuces, which was one of Chris Brown's big hits, and some other hits of his. So, you know, people said that. I didn't even know the man sang or produced none of that. I'm telling you, because at one point that's not what he was known for, you know. But, you know, people say that he is talented, but for whatever reason, I don't know if drugs has been involved, but they're saying that, you know, there's some mental issues again, you know, that he has never been able to get back on his feet. But if he could, you know, then I just wish that people, you know, people are products of their environment, and people, you know, are from the way that they grew up, you know, that affects them in their adulthood, and I understand that. But I feel like as an adult, it is your responsibility to now recognize that something is wrong with you. You cannot keep relying on, oh, well, this happened to me when I was a child. Well, now you're an adult, and do something about it. You know, do something to help yourself. If you need to get on medication, if you need to get some counseling, if you need to go to therapy, if there's some things that need to happen, then do those things, you know, because you would be doing your own self a disservice to continue to kind of wallow in this. I don't know if I would say that it's like, woe is me, but I mean, I hate to see the man on food stamps and everything when he has such a promising career, they say. But, you know, the way that you treat people is how people treat you in the long run. So Kevin McCall may have placed his own self there, but they say that he's really talented and, you know, all that. And I mean, I guess I could believe that too, but that's just not where he is in his life today. It's so funny because there's a video floating around where he's talking about people who can and can't sing, and he named a whole bunch of people, and he named Patti LaBelle and Keisha Cole and blah, blah, blah. He's saying all Mary J. Blige and Alicia Keys and all that. And I was like, I agree with everything. I mean, I kind of said that loosely. I didn't necessarily agree, but I pretty much agreed with what he said. I know the whole big thing is that Patti LaBelle, Roxanne, you think that Patti LaBelle can't sing? I don't think that Patti LaBelle can't sing. Okay. I believe that Patti LaBelle, I feel like she yells on tune. And I believe that she's a performer. So I believe that she gives people so much on the stage that everybody enjoys to see Patti LaBelle on there. But I don't look at Patti LaBelle and put her in the same place that I put Gladys Knight or Aretha Franklin. I just don't. Okay? I just don't see it like that. Like Aretha Franklin, you know, of course, when she got older and, you know, she breathing issues and her weight, you know, and all that affected her. But Aretha Franklin's voice was so beautiful and pure, you guys, I'm telling you. And I just never have gotten that from Patti LaBelle. And even Gladys Knight, like, I just don't think that they're comparable for me. But I won't just flat out say that Patti can't sing, okay? Because I know people was upset with me in them comments where I said, I don't even remember where it was that I said it, but and then the only person that I didn't really agree with was Keisha Cole. I believe that Keisha Cole can sing. Okay. I think that Keisha Cole can sometimes, you know, that I think that people that are vocally trained, not saying that I'm vocally trained, but I think that some people that are vocally trained will say that Keisha Cole can sometimes be flat, that she has like these strange runs and there's other things that people who consider themselves real singers see problems with some of the way that Keisha Cole sings. But I do believe, and I do enjoy Keisha Cole's music. I enjoy Patti LaBelle's music too, okay? But I do think that Keisha Cole maybe was unfairly put on there. But I agree pretty much with everybody else he said, so I was like, look at me agreeing with Kevin McCall, child. What does that make me? But we're talking about music there, and he actually knew what he was talking about, if you ask me. But yeah, that's that on that, you guys. That little beef, that shit flared up real fast, and then it went away. But we are still seeing a lot of stuff about Kevin McCall. I mean, at least his name is back out there. I mean, he would do well to take some time to try to get himself back together, and maybe he can start writing music again. And I wonder if he still does that. You know, does he still write? Is he just one is he just one day away from a hit? I don't know, you guys. But yeah, that's what's going on over there. Chris Brown said, nigga, you will not get 25 nothing from me. Okay? All right, you guys, next story. Let's talk about the situation at Marvin Sapp's church. I didn't even write the name down of the church, you guys, because I just didn't. But you guys will know what I'm talking about. There's a video that was circulating a few days ago where this woman was, all we saw in the clip that was circulating was this woman was trying to give $1,200 at Marvin Sapp's church. Okay, it was this whole speech that they had to say of $1,000 plus $200 for this and that, and praying for peace and blessings and all that, you know. Child, I don't know. I don't go to Marvin Sapp's church. I have been at churches where they have like these proclamations and these declarations when they have like anniversaries and things where they take these huge donations from the the churchgoers and all that. Like, I've seen all this kind of stuff happening, so it's not surprising to see this happening on the cliffs. However, I know that people who aren't familiar with the way that at least the old school churches, I don't know if the new school churches do this still, but the old school churches, this was something that you will see. Okay. Those kind of things have always made me uncomfortable. I've been members of very small churches. I have been a member of very huge churches. And whenever they do those things, when it comes to money, it always makes me uncomfortable. But, you know, people clearly tithe at these churches, and, you know, people with a lot of money go to these big churches, so they have the money to be given big donations and big tithes and all of that. So, I mean, it all happens, you guys. But when we saw that clip where this woman is saying she's giving this $1,200, you know, Marvin Sapp was just like, you did not listen to what I said. Okay, I said $2,000. Okay, she was like, yeah, but this is $1,200. He said, and he was like, okay, but that ain't what we doing right now. And she said, well, I'll pray for the other $800. And he was irritated and agitated about it. Okay, now of course we just watching that clip. Even I shook my head at that. Like, really? You are berating this woman in front of the whole congregation over the fact that she didn't come up there and give you $2,000. All she had was $1,200, which to me is a whole lot of money, especially if you just paying for peace and blessings. No, you know. So yeah, it was a bad look. And that went on until Fred Hammond posted the full clip of where you actually see. Now, I need people that are still against big donations to church. I need you guys to get out of that way of thinking and just kind of look at this as a business, as something that's for business. This is a church that is taking donations. Okay, forget about whether or not you think that it's okay to take donations, the church to take donations in such large amounts and to ask their congregation for large amounts. Take all that out of it. This is a church that's asking for donations, and their congregation is doing it willingly and wanting to do so. Okay, that's probably the same thing, willingly. But anyway, he actually said a whole lot before we saw that clip where he is explaining how he wants this to happen. If you're given this amount, you get in this line, you get in that amount for that line, that amount, that amount, that amount, that amount. Okay, so he clearly explained, he said, for this to work, you need to make sure that you're in the right line. Okay, I don't know why it was so important that people had to be in the right lines, but that's the way that he must have wanted it to be written down or notated by the the treasurer and all that. You know, I don't really know what it was, but he had given those instructions. So when the lady got up there and was in the wrong line, he was upset about the fact that she was in the wrong line, not about the amount of money that she was given. It looked like it in the clip, because that's all we saw was a clip. But when you see the whole entire video, then you know that this man is actually upset with her because she was in the wrong line. Now, did he need to do that in front of the church? No, he didn't need to do that. But, you know, I've seen plenty of pastors bust out members for not doing what they were told, you know, and that's a discussion for another day. But you can understand why, you know, after I done told you guys the thing, you know, why somebody would be irritated about that. I think that it looks worse because we're talking about a big amount of money, okay? And so it looks like he's upset with the fact that she didn't give the whole full $2,000, and it just kind of continues on that whole saying that the church is only there for money-making business opportunities, you know, and that they are just taking advantage of their congregation by taking money from them and all of that. And maybe that's being unfair. You know, you can have your feelings about people who tithe, but the fact of the matter is people tithe all the time. And some people give even way more than that. Okay, because imagine if you've got a huge celebrity who is a believer and really supports their church, they probably give a whole lot of money. That shit you just don't see it. You just don't know it, but they probably give a lot of money. Those churches do make a lot of money. Again, that another discussion can be had about whether the church preys on their church members and makes them think that if they give money that means that their prayers will be answered. That is another discussion. Okay, that's not the discussion that we're having today. The discussion that we're having today is why people are so upset with Marvin Sapp. I think it was a misunderstanding. Now, I have heard that Marvin Sapp is not the nicest person. I always think about Dustin from the Friend Zone. You guys know who Dustin Ross is. Him saying that he went to, I think he was talking about Marvin Sapp. Lord, don't let me misquote him, but I believe that I remembered him talking about going to his church once before and how he would never ever go back because they never made him feel welcome, and that, you know, they were very anti-gay, and I mean, just to the point where it made him uncomfortable. I mean, most churches are, I won't say anti-gay, but it's sort of like a don't speak, don't talk about it, just let it be kind of thing. But you know, for him to say that they actually made him feel uncomfortable being there, he would never go back, you know. So I've heard things about Marvin Sapp's church, but I think in this case, maybe it's just a misunderstanding. But still, what do you guys think about that? Remember, we're not talking about whether or not this lady should be giving this man $1,200, period. We are talking about her being in the wrong line. And that's what he was upset about. So y'all let me know what you think. But I've seen a lot of people talking about it, making videos about it and all. The information is just not out there for everybody, because a lot of people have missed the Fred Hammond's post about it. But that's what they're saying happened there. So that's that on that, you guys. Let me move on to the next story. Lastly, you guys, prayers up for Bryant Gumble. They say that he was hospitalized on Monday night in Manhattan, that, you know, he was rushed to the hospital for a medical emergency. That is all that they are telling us. Bryant Gumble is 77 years old. We know that his brother just died. Was it earlier this year or was it last year? But the last time that I saw Bryant Gumble, he still looked good. I don't know exactly what's going on. His wife did post the next day, because people were asking what was going on. The wife did post gratitude, was it? She posted gratitude, did not say anything else. So nobody really knows exactly what that means, but we believe that maybe that means that she's trying to say that he's okay and she's thankful for people's prayers or something like that. But so far they haven't said what exactly the issue is. He is still, as of right now anyway, he is still in the hospital. And they still have not let us know anything else that's going on. So once I know more about the story, I will let you know. But, you know, prayers up for Bryant Gumble, because, man, I just don't want to see Bryant Gumble gone yet. Okay? Everybody, we losing everybody, child. Let Brian pull on through. Okay? That's that on that. All right, you guys, that is it. We do this every single week, so make sure you thumbs up the video, comment, and subscribe, and make sure you come back. Until next time, Roxanne.